The other big story of this evening is two of the most powerful men in the world spending 2 hours on a secure Zoom call trying to calm tensions as 100,000 Russian troops gather on the border with Ukraine. Presidents Joe Biden and Vladimir Putin began talks at 3:07 UK time. Russia wanted guarantees that Ukraine won't join NATO. The US wanted Ukraine's sovereignty respected. In a conference call last night, the White House said leaders of the United States, the UK, France, Germany and Italy had all formed a joint strategy to hit Russia with severe economic sanctions if they go ahead and invade Ukraine. Let's get you some perspective on this, first of all, then from Viktorija Starych-Samuoliene, who's co-founder and director of strategy at the Council on Geostrategy. We spoke to you last week, Victoria, didn't we, about the tensions that already existed around Ukraine. Do you feel today's meeting has done anything to dampen those flames?
Good evening. Well, today's meeting is a really significant step in this unfolding situation. So there was a call between Biden and Putin, which lasted 2 hours and 1 minute to be precise. And during this call, both leaders aimed to find a solution to the ongoing tensions and the escalating crisis on the eastern border of NATO. Now, the Kremlin said before Tuesday's meeting that it did not expect any breakthroughs as such, but it was open to negotiations and diplomatic talks, whereas Biden's team noted that the aim of the meeting was to reassure, first of all, Putin and to alleviate supposed fear that Ukraine is posing a threat to Russia by aligning too closely with the West and buying American arms and taking advice from the West and US military officials, and also at the same time to make sure that the message about further sanctions and really strong sanctions this time is delivered to Putin directly by Biden.
The troops, though, the presence of the troops there, that's going to be a huge issue, isn't it, really? I mean, at that kind of cost, is Putin really putting those there just as a kind of puff out of the chest?
So currently there are around 90,000 to 100,000 troops dislocated next to Ukraine's border. Now, some intelligence reports from the United States note that this number might increase further to 175,000 troops later in January. Of course, this is a very significant number, and keeping in mind also all military equipment which has been located there in the recent months. Why Putin is acting this way? There are two ways. So, of course, there is a threat that he might decide to invade, and this is now on the card. So at any time when this decision is taken, logistically, this action can happen and is realistic. At the same time, it might be an attempt by Putin and by the Kremlin to persuade the West to start talks about Russia's role in the European security architecture. So we know that the ultimate aim is to make sure that Ukraine does not join NATO. And this is exactly what currently the Kremlin is trying to achieve, either diplomatically or militarily.
What I struggle with, and I suppose a lot of people do with these types of story, it's very Cold War, isn't it? It's almost that paranoia is governing. You know, Putin seems paranoid that Ukraine will join NATO, even though we're being told that's not on the cards. Biden seems paranoid that Putin will go ahead and invade. And I wonder if that's dangerous. That level of paranoia about actions that may not happen is dangerous, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And well, a couple of weeks ago, our former chief of the defense staff, General Carter, noted that actually we live now in the times when the risk of escalation and the risk of an accidental war with Russia is more on the cards than any time during the Cold War. So this is certainly a very dangerous situation we are finding ourselves in. And also, well, our current chief of the defense staff, Sir Admiral Tony Radakin, also earlier today noted that the security outlook is far more complex and dangerous than at any time of the past 30 years. And this is exactly what we are currently witnessing on the eastern border of NATO and next to Ukraine.